Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we have a summary of the latest inside Star Citizen, looking at wear and tear, new points of interest, Pyro, and AI updates. Beyond that, we also have a new 3.17 PTU patch for Star Citizen, going into alphabet letters never before seen by man, AA. Windows 7 is no longer supported, and there are some more dev responses on the Gen 12 renderer updates for the game. All that and more. So let's start with the Inside Star Citizen Wear and Tear Affair, released on the 28th of April 2022, with a summary of that. Jared Huckabee, the creative content lead at Cloud Imperium, the man behind Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live, has now fully relocated to the UK office. So the Winslow by Manchester office and Frankfurt offices are preparing for their moves to larger studios currently. So Cloud Imperium are gearing up, they're expanding out their studios, they're going to have a load more devs in much nicer offices, and the Manchester one is currently under construction, but near completion. This quarter's Inside Star Citizen, because of that, might be a bit more run and gun as they sort of film wherever they can. So they'll have a look at their new studios when they can, they'll have a look at the old studios, they might be in Frankfurt, they might be in various locations. We were treated to a look at the evolution of the Wear and Biome systems that will start to appear in-game later this year. The sort of information we were shown and given here was a presentation that was actually given to Chris Roberts, showing what they wanted to do for biome and dirt and wear accumulation. So they clearly outline what that sort of is. They want to have visual consistencies as you accumulate dirt and sort of wear on your gear and weapons and armor. They then want you to use the appropriate shaders, and those shaders need to be up to date, and all the assets need to be up to date for all this tech. A character shader and visual look should reflect the weather and biome that they are in: ice, rain, snow, mud, whatever. And currently there's only a single texture handling accumulation effects per asset. They want to make it procedural and have it basically generated by the biome automatically and then applied to any given asset. This would mean that there's no real burden of work on artists, and in the future you'll be able to look at someone's ship or armor and it will tell a story of where they've been and how long until they, wash it or whatever. Cloud Imperium have given us a sprint report from the AI and sandbox teams as well, so they've been working on some interesting AI stuff. So they're trying to improve collisions and pathfinding with NPCs so they can sort of move very close to each other but pass by each other, and in tight corridors, well, how do they sort of solve this? Well, they have a sort of shrinking collision box that temporarily shrinks as NPCs move past each other, and then it applies the appropriate animations so they can actually sort of push or merge past each other or whatever. And this should keep everything flowing while also looking pretty good. They're building missions and tech for having AI and NPCs be able to use their ships and fly down, go planet side, pick up characters or items, and then they can also use this same tech for sort of ships coming down to sort of fly more smoothly without sort of janking around so much. They sort of, instead of really hugging terrain, they'll go, well, actually, this is a sensible sort of path that I can go across, which means I don't crash, but means I don't have to constantly correct up and down. They can also use this tech to have NPCs work out where they want to land, and it sounds like they don't even need a designated landing spot. They can actually choose their own. Downstate reactions are getting work as well. NPCs will be able to find bodies. If you've left a body out or blood or whatever, they'll investigate that and then they'll go on alert. And there are lots of behaviors as part of these sort of investigations, because if there's multiple NPCs there, well, they might send one out to investigate while the others sort of cover. They might all investigate together, but then sort of fan out. There are also relatively quick reactions from NPCs if you interrupt them while they're investigating a body. Various usables have been made functional for NPCs as well, like vending machines with various behaviors and interactions for them. They can sort of go up to a vending machine, dispense a drink, actually drink the drink, and then dispose of the empty can. But they can also want to get a drink and fail to get a drink because the machine didn't dispense, and then they can get grumpy and angry. I very much like the fact that the NPCs will dispose of cans, and then those cans will despawn once they've gone into the trash, because that makes sense. That will help alleviate sort of server and client-side issues and gets rid of random assets, and eventually you can have a guy that literally goes around as a janitor and cleans up the area. Moving into the new star system Pyro now, as it continues to be fleshed out. Derelict outposts are being tested at the moment in first person and the white box traversal tests, so this has them walking around them, making sure that players can move around them, navigate them, and We're going to be seeing these around Pyro's planets and moons to start with. These points of interest will be used for missions and various gameplay opportunities, and as it's Pyro, PvP is also given some thought when they build out these levels and areas. There's work going into various larger points of interest and scenes for Pyro in space for exploration and mission purposes, debris from capital ships and massive space stations that have been destroyed, decayed or abandoned. There's supposed to be like 500 years of potential junk and decay accrued here. They have some areas of safety, landmarks and pathing in these large sort of areas and debris fields to help guide players through. There may be hazards and obstacles here as well, so there might be corrosive materials and there might be lots of little micro asteroids. One of the things points of interest like this will provide is a reason to use smaller and snub craft ships to get into tighter areas. They also showed an area which looks like they're in a crevasse on a moon or a large asteroid, sort of like internal sort of an area that's potentially been mined out, and there's various structures there, and they said they would talk more about this area later in the year. That's it for your summary of the Inside Star Citizen, but let's look at some other news. Star Citizen Alpha 3.17 PTU has gone through the whole of the alphabet, and we're now on AA as a patch, so 3.17.0 AA, which just focused on some bug fixes, which is really all we want before they get the live build out. They fixed an issue causing reputation to not increase after completing many types of mission, an issue that allowed players to bypass supply and demand levels when buying and selling commodities has been completed and fixed as well. Mining lasers should now correctly apply their properties when mining deposits. Gravity should no longer be too high within Clash Prison. That was preventing players from getting out of prison and completing that gameplay loop. They fixed an issue causing larger weapons such as the Animus missile launcher to not spawn inside loot crates. Food and drink should now consistently fill hunger and thirst bars. Buying food and drink at kiosks should no longer display the pickup animation far away from the actual food location. And they fixed 3 client crashes and a server crash. There are still, however, a load of major known issues that require fixes, but the patch is getting through those. Hopefully we'll see another couple of builds over the next few days that will fix most of the rest of those, and then they can go live with the patch. Something else majorly important with 3.17 is an update that moves Star Citizen into DirectX 11.1. What does that mean? Well, that means GPUs, so graphics cards that are unable to support DirectX 11.1, as well as Windows 7 users, because Windows 7 doesn't support DirectX 11.1, will not be able to play Star Citizen Alpha 3.17 when it launches. Well, at least until they update their systems. Apparently, this only affects 0.5% of active users, and it does make sense that Star Citizen, as it's being developed, well, they need to use the latest tech, and Windows 7 did stop being supported by Microsoft in 2020. But that said, I can imagine it being very annoying for those 0.5% of people. That's 1 in 200 people are going to be affected by that, or at least active users. If you were unaware that that was going to happen, or you don't have modern hardware, then that's a bit lame. I did see on Spectrum as well someone that was worried about the Scorpius being delayed entirely out of the 3.17 cycle altogether, but Cloud Imperium's Jake Acapella responded, the Scorpius is on track for a 3.17.x release in May. Assumedly that's 3.17.1. The additional time you're seeing on the progress tracker is fairly standard for scheduling, as overflow is typically scheduled just in case. The endpoint of an item on the progress tracker doesn't necessarily indicate when that deliverable is due for release. Additionally, a column on the release view includes the entire patch cycle, meaning it can show content for 3.17.0 and 3.17.1, etc. Another thread I've been covering actually quite a lot over the last few days is on the Gen 12 renderer and Vulkan integration. That's constantly being responded to by the very dedicated Ali Brown, who is the director of graphics engineering from Cloud Imperium. That is still continuing, and I want to talk a little bit more about it because there's still some debate and confusion about optimizations that Gen 12 renderer will bring, and client and server performance and how they affect each other. So Ali Brown responds, the confusion in this thread is due to a misunderstanding of a point that might seem like splitting hairs from one perspective, but absolutely crucial from another. To repeat my point, the performance, i.e. frame rate, of the server does not directly affect the client performance. If you had an infinitely fast server that can run at 1 million FPS, your client FPS would be totally unaffected, but you probably get less lag. Conversely, if your client PC was infinitely fast, then you too could run at 1 million FPS regardless of whether the server was running on a potato. However, the reason a server would run slow, other than if it were on slow hardware, is due to the load we place on it, e.g. entity count, and that load also has an indirect cost on the clients, and that's where your correlation between the two arises. In a perfect world, the client would only receive increased load when close to the areas causing the high load on server, e.g. if you're near lots of players. And for most systems, it is likely to be the case, and is 100% true for all rendering systems. However, there are likely to be some systems and costs that scale up even when far away. To use a really bad example, a chat service would scale based on player count, not locality, though I'm certainly not suggesting a chat system actually has any noticeable effect on FPS. Any such costs that scale up regardless of distance are a major issue, and something we obviously want to remove, limit and optimize, and I'm sure other engineers are looking at those as well, outside of my area. So if a server is under high load, then being near a hotspot is going to increase the load on your client, and being further away will decrease it, but as highlighted above, you'll still probably have worse performance than when on an empty server, but this can be improved and doesn't require the server to run faster, only that less systems place a load on the client. PS, a gentle reminder that I post here on my spare time, and try to show appreciation for all you backers. Let's play nicely. I have certainly seen people getting quite heated about some of the conversations and not understanding things, or wanting answers to their question, or not liking certain things. So please remember, on Spectrum threads and on Reddit and stuff, when a dev is talking or answering questions or whatever, they're doing it in their spare time. They're trying to answer questions. They're trying to be helpful, and hopefully everyone can be civil and nice, and for the most part, that's what I see, but sometimes overly heated. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen updates today, but what do you think? Are you excited as we move towards getting Pyro in-game and those new areas? Are you keenly awaiting 3.17 going live and all of its features? Are you affected by the support of Windows 7 ending and the move to DirectX 11.1? Are you looking forward to Vulkan support coming to the game eventually? Do you get involved in the sort of Spectrum threads, and have you had your questions answered by a CIG dev previously? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I was feeling tired and sluggish. I found out that I was allergic to adverts and malware in 2022, which means I can't use the internet. If only there was a service that could help. Wait! There is! NordVPN.com/BoredGamer! It's NordVPN that I use, and it blasts away a load of my advert and malware-based concerns, while allowing me to freely explore the internet. Maybe I want to be in the USA today, and pretend that I'm an American. What's this? Now I'm down under in the Australias? Wait, now I'm in the UK. Okay, I live there. That is less impressive. NordVPN has done so much for me. Sign up with the links below, or go to NordVPN.com/BoredGamer. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For April 2022, we're giving away an Origin 400i. It's a luxury exploration and touring ship, which will be great for a small crew wishing to explore the stars, or try out a multitude of other gameplay. It's like a little yacht in space, a little piece of luxury. All you need to do to be in for a chance to win that is comment on any of my videos made during April 2022. More details in the description below. If you wish to further support the channel, consider clicking the join button under my videos to become a channel member, or even become a Patreon. That goes a massive way in helping with our day-to-day videos, and gives you a variety of little exclusives as well. But it should just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Join today! Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment if so inclined, and I'll see you in the verse.